Good morning. There hasn't been any videos for the last few days. The universe took my food again, so I plunked my ass down and I've been watching Netflix. I love a bit of Netflix and chill, you know. I'm nearly very appreciative for these days, you know. And I've been thinking a lot, and I've been thinking about value and values, especially a lot about values and value and the value of things and the value of different people and different things. A lot about value, you know. Value is a very tricky subject because you have intrinsic value, extrinsic value, perceived value, actual value, sentimental value. You know, when we get into the subject of value, we've all different types of value, you know, and all the different ways we have a value in things and value in people, and the different what makes things more valuable than others. Like everybody says, like some people like to preach this the greatest noble lie that we're all equal, but we're not all equal because we're all of different value to different people. Do you know what I mean? And these people are the universe. These people are the universe. And collectively are the universe. And collectively, some people, like, for example, like, I used to say, like, why does the President of America have bodyguards? Why are these people who jump in front of him and take a bullet for him, why is their value, life of less value than his? Just because he's an the appointed leader, if you know what I mean. But he is the appointed leader, but as a collective, they appointed him as the leader, which makes him more valuable than everybody else. So to the universe, to them, to that section of the universe, he is more valuable than the two men that get shot before him. So this bullshit of we're all equal, this is just. But then, you know, yeah. But really the first value you have to know is your own value, your own worth. This is important. And that's why, you know, when the universe takes my food, I sit my ass down and watch Netflix. I don't give a fuck if the Queen of England is coming. I have to be fed first. And until then, I'll watch Netflix. And I was watching this thing called, this film called Worth. Worth is the name of it. It has Michael Keaton in it. And it's all about the 9/11 bombings. When the 9/11 bombings happened, what was every life worth? What was each individual worth? What would the insurance company be prepared to pay out for each individual life? And the valuation that they had to put on each individual life. Oh, you're a solicitor. We calculate your value using a certain you know, they had a formula to work out his value. You know, how much he could potentially earn, his age, how much he could potentially earn over the next few years, and Maria. So there was a formula to work out his value. And then, oh, you're the toilet cleaner. Well, there was a formula then to work out your value. Well, you get paid $10 an hour, and you're 50 years of age. You might not live, so you're not really worth too much. You know what I mean? So basically, there was a formula. Calculating your value to society, or your worth, yeah. And this formula was put together. There was a lad appointed to this, to assign the job of getting everybody to agree collectively to accept this formula and this valuation of their lives and of their loved ones and all that died in the 9/11 disaster. And the whole point of him being appointed to this job was to shave the insurance company's money. Basically, they didn't give a fuck about the people, and they didn't, like, they said, oh, you need the money now, you need the money now. So these people became prey. They knew they were on their knees. They knew that maybe the main income earner was wiped out, that these people were on their knees, their famous homelessness. So they were in a position that their arm could be put up behind their back and bent off, basically. That they'll break it if they want to resist. They'll break it if they want to resist. Basically, we'll drag you through the court for years and you'll end up in the streets before you ever get a penny. Basically, they'll put their arm up behind their back and threaten to break it off unless they accepted their valuation of their lives. But they had to agree to it unanimously. And this was his job, to get them to agree to this unanimously. Interesting, you know, what's a life worth? And the basis that they calculated what a life was worth was on. It was a very interesting film. But most of the people, you know, the surprising thing was some of the poorer families were just so fucking grateful. So fucking grateful. Like some of the Mexican families were just so grateful they were getting any money at all. I can't believe that you put any valuation on it, because they're not used to being of any value at all. Usually they're worth no more than the dirt on your shoe. They're toilet cleaners. They're worth no more than the dirt on your shoe. They couldn't believe there was any value being put on them at all. And they were really grateful for any few pound at all they were getting. And then there was there was a top tier of wealthy people whose loved ones had died, and they banded together and they wanted to do a separate deal. They weren't grateful at all. They wanted astronomical sums of money, and they threatened, we have money behind us and we will hammer your ass. We want money. We want lots of fucking money. So they were going to fuck it for everybody, but because they only, again, care only about themselves. So basically the people who were, you know, the insurance companies and the people at the top said to everybody else, we'll show you value. We'll give you value. But the different valuations, yeah, it's interesting, you know. But the surprising thing of all was then, you know, what the most of these people wanted, the bourgeois, the middle class people, the firemen, the police officers, the people, their loved ones, you know all they wanted? You know all they wanted? They didn't want to be treated as a statistic. They just didn't want their loved ones being seen as a statistic. They didn't care about the fucking money. They just didn't want their loved ones seen as a statistic. But that's all these academic hierarchies do. Everybody's a fucking statistic. A statistic. 84%. A statistic. But, so they just wanted, they were so happy just to get an interview and for people to listen what these people were worth to them. That they were a father, that they were a son, that they were a mother. It's just that these people had a value. These people had a sentimental value. These people were not just a formula. These people were worth so much to them. And that's all they wanted to be understood. That these people had a value outside your stupid fucking formula. And that's all they wanted. That these people were not just a statistic. That's all they wanted. Of course, they got a few pound, you know. They got when we used to call it in work, we used to call it fuck off money. That's what we used to call it in the security industry and in the you know, in any work I ever did, we used to call it fuck off money. That's the money that the insurance company used to give you. Fuck off money basically was the, you know, here's a few pound, fuck off. That's, you know, but they got the fuck off money, but it wasn't about the money for them. That's just on point I'm making. So, you know, it's just on value, you know, just on value. What's a life worth? And then I went on to watch this film called Babel. Babel was the name of it with Brad Pitt in it. That was class, man. That was class. That was fucking really class. About 2 American tourists in Morocco and something that happened to them. The wife got shot and how this impacted across 3 different continents. It was really a marvellous example of cause and effect. But the philosophy in it was so fucking profound. Because again, what's a life worth? There was a big fucking deal made about the fucking American citizen. The big fucking deal in Morocco. Big fucking deal about the American citizen. And they blew it up and it was a terrorist thing. And it wasn't a terrorist thing. It was a shepherd shot her. Like Ali, young laddie. Do I remember I shot someone? I shot my sister with a Black Widow. She got through a window. I remember pleading with her and crying and everything else. And my only care was that the Black Widow was going to be taken off me. That's all I give a fuck about. So I knew I could relate exactly to what the young lad did. The young lad only wanted to test his gun. It's over, you know, secretly hit the bus and he fucking shot the tourists. It's fucking, you could nearly call it an accident. I know it wasn't an accident, but it was an accident. It's hard to explain, but I can relate. I know exactly what was going through the young lad's mind. I could relate to the young lad. But then, you know, I went across 3 continents and there was a Japanese girl and that was really profound because, you know, it showed how she you know, in order to adapt and to validate herself, she chased older men in order to, you know, to feel validated in relation to her insecurity. She was insecure. She was mute and deaf, but in order to validate herself, she went after older men. I suppose she thought that they wouldn't be able to resist her, but this is how she was going to validate herself. But they did resist her. But anyway, that's another story. So the older men were prey, but really, like, you know, like, you know, like a lot of people, society would consider her the prey, but no, the older men were the prey. She preyed on the other men in order to validate her insecurities, to validate herself, to compensate for her insecurities. You know what I mean? She thought the older men would not take advantage. She was the one taking advantage, if you understand what I'm saying. It's just that everybody would perceive it completely differently, but they don't see that aspect of it. But that film, Babel, showed us that side of it. If you look at it, you know, from an analytical perspective, it showed us that side of it, that the older men were the prey. The older men were the prey. But of course, society are going to have a hard time swallowing that. But anyway, yeah, and then there was a big fucking deal made about the American getting shot, that they fly a helicopter in for her, and a big fucking deal, American citizen. And I said, how is the American life worth so fucking much? And the Moroccan chap, his brother got shot in the fucking, when they went to arrest the terrorist, the brother got shot, but there wasn't a fucking thing about the brother. His life was dirt. His life was worthless. His life was worth nothing. But the Americans was worth so much. American lives are so fucking important. But at the same time, I then watched a video on YouTube where there was a man, his wife got sick. He owed 85,000 in medical bills, and the minute his wife died, they fucked him straight out onto his ear. Straight out onto the street. And chased him and served him when he was panhandling, begging for money. They served him with a subpoena. They chased, even want this money in his plate towards the 85,000 that he owed. They chased him like a dog. In other words, the Americans give one fuck about they give a fuck about nothing. Despite their hypocrisy and their great valuation in life, people are only a resource, and the only thing they seem to give a fuck about is money. That's all to give a fuck about, is money. I suppose this is capitalism, isn't it? But capitalism, of course, is also realising that people are a resource and using them to that end, you know. But the most important thing in capitalism is the fucking money. And let's not pretend otherwise. And America is a capitalist country, so they can blow smoke up our arse, but the value of life, all the fucking want. The only thing they give a fuck about is money. Well, that's a bit of a heavy one this morning. Good morning, I'm off. Goodbye.